Hello students, welcome back once again to your botany class, and in continuation with the last class where we have discussed about the ultrastructure of the plasma membrane and the different layers of cell wall. Today I would like to take you into deeper contents of the cell, two very important cell organelles, mitochondria and chloroplast. Okay. So, first let us see the ultrastructure and functions of mitochondria. This mitochondria was first discovered by Kolliker in 1880 in flight muscle of insects, and these mitochondria are cell organelles which are absent in prokaryotic cells and in mature mammalian RBC. They are absent in prokaryotic cells and in mammalian RBC, and they are present in eukaryotic cells. Okay, so they were first discovered by Kolliker in 1880, flight muscle cells of insects. They are rod shaped, and they measures about 5 to 10 nanometer in length and 0.6 to 2 nanometer in width or breadth. And in ultrastructure, this mitochondria consists of two membranes, outer membrane and inner membrane, and the space in between the outer membrane and inner membrane is known as intermembrane space or intermitochondrial space, which measures about 6 to 8 nanometer. Okay. So, like the plasma membrane as we have discussed, this outer membrane and inner membrane, they also resemble the structures of plasma membrane, and it consists of proteins and lipids. So, in the outer membrane, lipids constitute about 40%, while protein constitute about 60%, and in the inner membrane, lipids constitute about 20% and protein constitute about 60%. So, the inner membrane has greater amount of proteins. This inner membrane encloses a liquid or gel like substance known as the matrix, and the inner membrane, they run in parallel to the outer membrane, and at regions they shows invaginations. They show inward foldings towards the matrix, and these foldings of the inner membrane, they are known as crista. Singular is crista and plural is cristae. Okay. So, on this crista or cristae, there are special particles known as F1 particles, and these F1 particles consist of a base by means of which they are attached to the crista. They have a stalk and the head, which projects into the matrix of mitochondria. Okay. So, besides these structures, mitochondria has DNA and ribosomes. Unlike other cell organelles, exception with chloroplast, mitochondria have DNA, as circular double-stranded DNA and ribosomes. Okay. So, because of the presence of DNA and ribosomes, they are also called as semi-autonomous organelles. This DNA, the presence of this DNA and ribosomes enables the mitochondria to synthesize the proteins and enzymes as required by the cell. Nevertheless, they are also depending upon the cellular DNA for the enzymes and proteins. So, this DNA which is present in mitochondria, which is also known as mitochondrial DNA, is capable of independent replication, and during cell division, the daughter cell receives this DNA. Okay. Each of the daughter cells receives the DNA which replicates and goes to the daughter cells, and the ribosomes helps, which are known as the sites of protein synthesis. Because of these structures, they are known as semi-autonomous organelles, because they have the ability to synthesize the proteins, enzymes as required by the cell, and the DNA codes for the type of proteins to be synthesized. Okay. So, what is the function of mitochondria? The main function of mitochondria, whether in case of plant cell or animal cell, is oxidation of food, or they are also known as the sites of respiration. In case of bacteria, the mesosomes are the sites of respiration, while in case of animal cell and plant cells, these mitochondria, they are the sites of respiration. And you know that during respiration, oxidation of food takes place. During the process of respiration, carbon dioxide is released and oxygen is taken in. The oxygen is taken in, and that oxygen which we inhale in is used to break down the food and release the energy. So, oxidation of food involves the chemical energy obtained from food is converted into energy-rich phosphate. The chemical energy that is stored in the food is broken down and is stored in the form of energy-rich phosphate bonds of ATP during the process of oxidative phosphorylation. So, that is the most important function of mitochondria, and it takes place, the synthesis of ATP is mostly the head of the F1 particles is mostly concerned with the production of ATP. So, it is during respiration, during the inhalation of oxygen that is used for breaking down of food. The chemical energy that is stored in the food is released, and that energy released is stored in the form of ATP. So, this ATP, they are known as the energy currency of the cell, and as and when the cell or the body requires energy, this energy rich ATP, they are broken down into monophosphate and diphosphate, releasing energy as and when the cell demands it. So, oxidation of food or respiration of food takes place, and it is the primary function of mitochondria. Okay. So, besides this oxidation of food, mitochondria also helps in the formation of the yolk during the development of the ovum. During the development of the ovum, mitochondria helps in the formation of the yolk, and it also helps in the formation of a middle piece of the sperm during sperm maturation. So, since it is concerned with the production of energy or production of ATP, the number of mitochondria in a cell in cells varies. They are more active since they are concerned with production of energy. They are more in case of cells that are more active, while in case of less active cells, the number of mitochondria will be lesser. So, this is the ultrastructure and function of mitochondria. Next is the let us see into the ultrastructure and function of chloroplast. So, these chloroplasts are cell organelles which are present in plant cells only, while they are absent in case of animal cells, and chloroplasts are a type of plastids, and you know that plastids are double membrane bound organelles which are present in the green parts of the plant or present in plant cells only, and there are different kinds of plastids. There are leucoplasts which are also known as white plastids or colorless plastids, and they are chiefly concerned with the storage of reserve food in the form of starch and fats and proteins, and accordingly they are known as amyloplast, elaioplast and proteinoplast. And the other type of plastid is are chromoplast, and these are colored plastids due to the presence of pigments. And examples of or types of colored plastids are chloroplast. These are called as green color plastids because of the presence of the pigment chlorophyll. Then pheoplast, they are also known as brown colored plastids because of the presence of the pigment xanthophyll and fucoxanthin. Rhodoplast, they are known as red colored plastids because of the presence of the pigment phycoerythrin and lycopene. So, the beautiful coloration of the fruits and the flowers is because of these colored plastids. Okay. So, let us look into the ultrastructure and function of chloroplast. Okay. So, this chloroplast, like mitochondria, it also consists of outer membrane and inner membrane. The outer membrane is about 5 to 6 nanometer in thickness, and the space in between the two membrane is known as interplastidial space, and the inner membrane encloses or within the membrane is present a gel-like fluid known as the stroma, and embedded in the stroma are like disc-like structures known as the thylakoids, and these thylakoids are stacked up like piles of coins. They are arranged in a like piles of coins, and they give rise to grana, granum singular and grana plural, and the number of thylakoids may range from 2 to 100 in a chloroplast, and the number of grana may range from 40 to 100 granum per chloroplast, but it varies from cell to cell. So, like mitochondria, these chloroplasts are also the number of these thylakoids and granum, it varies depends upon the region where they are present. Okay. So, chloroplasts, they are green colored plastids because of the presence of the pigment chlorophyll, and they are present on the leaves and green parts of the stems, and the main function of chloroplast is photosynthesis. We all know that green plants prepare their own food in the presence of sunlight and the pigment chlorophyll taking carbon dioxide from the atmosphere, water from the soil, and in due course food is produced or carbohydrate is produced releasing oxygen. And the oxygen that is released is used during the process of respiration again. Okay. And of course, the energy or the carbohydrate that is produced during the process of photosynthesis is consumed by the animals. Okay, so the process of photosynthesis takes place in two phases, light phase and dark phase. The light reaction or the light phase takes place on the thylakoids, while the dark phase or the dark reaction takes place on the stroma. Okay, so during the light phase, light is trapped. Photosynthesis takes place in the presence of light, and it is during this process of photosynthesis where carbon dioxide is reduced to carbohydrate. So, in the first phase, light is trapped and assimilatory powers like ATP and NADPH, these are energy rich molecules are produced, and it is during the dark phase, the second phase, which takes place in the stroma, where carbon dioxide is actually reduced to carbohydrate and oxygen is released using those assimilatory powers which were produced in the light reaction. Okay. So, light reaction, assimilatory powers are produced trapping the light, and in the dark reaction it does not necessarily mean that it takes place in the dark, no, but it takes place in the absence of light. Okay, without the requirement of light. So, dark phase, carbon dioxide is reduced to carbohydrate, oxygen is released. So, that is what takes place in the dark phase, and it takes place on the stroma. Okay, so, besides this, like mitochondria, chloroplast also has its own DNA, circular double stranded DNA and ribosomes, and because of the presence of DNA and ribosomes, they can synthesize the enzymes or the proteins that are required by the cell organelle. So, they are also known as semi-autonomous organelles. So, this DNA present in mitochondria and chloroplast, they are capable of independent replication. So, as and when the cell divides, the DNA replicates and they go into the daughter cells. So, these two cell organelles, one of which is concerned with the production of food or carbohydrate, and the other is concerned with the breaking down of food. So, the process that takes place in chloroplast is photosynthesis, or photosynthesis is the primary function of chloroplast, and the other, oxidation of food, production of energy, which is stored in the form of ATP, takes place on the mitochondria. So, these are the two important functions, and the two most important, of course, even the other cells, all the cell organelles work in coordination with each other, but two very important cell organelles, the in-depth knowledge of this will help you in studying physiology. When we go detailedly into studying the steps of photosynthesis, the detailed study of light reaction, dark reaction, the detailed steps of oxidation of food, this will, knowing these structures will help you a lot. Okay. So, as we have discussed, both these two cell organelles have their own DNA and ribosomes. So, what are ribosomes? These ribosomes are the sites of protein synthesis. The ribosomes are the sites of protein synthesis. Ribosomes are naked structures. These are structures which are present in prokaryotic cell and eukaryotic cell, because both prokaryotic cell and eukaryotic cell, they synthesize proteins. So, these ribosomes are structures which are present in both prokaryotic cell, eukaryotic cell, and in case of prokaryotic cells, they are found attached to the plasma membrane, or they are found scattered in the cytoplasm, while in case of eukaryotic cells, ribosomes are found attached to the endoplasmic reticulum, and also they are found scattered in the cytoplasm. So, those ribosomes, when they are attached to the endoplasmic reticulum, that type of endoplasmic reticulum is known as rough endoplasmic reticulum. So, in all types of cells, prokaryotic or eukaryotic, plant cells or animal cells, each ribosome consists of two subunits, large subunit and small subunit. And in case of prokaryotic cells, the ribosomes are of 70 S types, and in case of eukaryotic cells, the ribosomes are of 80 S type, and S, the letter S refers to the sedimentation coefficient, and the large subunit is in prokaryotes is 50 S, while in case of eukaryotic cells it is 60 S, and the small subunit is 30S and 40S. So ribosomes, in case of prokaryotic cells, the large subunit is of 50S type and the small subunit is 30S type. In case of eukaryotic cells, the large subunit is 60S type and the small subunit is 40S types, and these are the sites where protein synthesis takes place. And once the proteins are synthesized, the proteins are modified into enzymes. So the presence of these structures in mitochondria and chloroplast give them the autonomous character. They can synthesize the proteins, they can synthesize the enzymes as is required by the cell organelle. Of course, they also depend upon the cellular DNA for the other enzymes. So these ribosomes consist of proteins and RNA. The ribosomes consist of proteins and RNAs, which constitute the structural components of ribosomes, and these are the sites of protein synthesis, and they are present in both prokaryotic cell, eukaryotic cell, consists of large subunit and small subunit, 70S type in case of prokaryotic cell, 80S type in eukaryotic cell. The large subunit in prokaryotic is 50, small is 30S, 60 and 40 respectively in large subunit, small subunit in case of eukaryotic cells, and they remain in dissociated state. They remain in dissociated state when protein synthesis is not taking place. When protein synthesis is not taking place, the two subunits separates out, but when protein synthesis is about to take place, the two subunits come together. And that information for the type of proteins to be synthesized, the type of enzymes to be synthesized, or the type of protein to be synthesized, that information is produced by the DNA. That information is coded by the DNA. So these two cell organelles, chloroplast, DNA, chloroplast and mitochondria, the type of proteins or the enzymes and the proteins that are required by the cell organelle is given by coded by the DNA, and they are taken to the ribosomes, which are the sites of protein synthesis. And you know that every chemical reaction, every metabolic reaction takes place with the help of enzymes. So photosynthesis takes place with the help of enzymes. Oxidation of food, respiration takes place with the help of enzymes. So these enzymes, as required by the cell organelle, they are synthesized within the cell organelle only, giving them an independent nature, and as such we call them semi-autonomous organelles. Okay, so briefly, both the two cell organelles, outer membrane and inner membrane, they have, and the outer structure resembles that of the plasma membrane, and mitochondria concerned with the oxidation of food and synthesis of ATP, which takes place particularly on the F1 particles, while chloroplast concerned with the production of or synthesis of food and release of oxygen. That oxygen is used during the process of respiration again, and the carbon dioxide that is released during respiration is used by the plants for photosynthesis. And because of the presence of DNA and ribosomes, they are capable of carrying out the process of photosynthesis on the ribosomes. So with this, I went up today's class, and in next class we will go detailedly into other types of cell organelles.